I'd like to call to order November 6th work session. And just so you know that Councilman Loretano will be calling in on this work session. So unless we have some questions, she probably won't be asking too many questions, she said. She's having to stay at the court, so she couldn't make it here. So, all right, we only have one item on the agenda. And again, council, please have your pens and notes and ready, because I would remind you to refrain from asking questions until the staff presentations are complete. So the staff will provide the mayor and council with an update on the traffic signal projects for the fiscal year FY 2018. And then they're expecting to hear a feedback on the proposed alternatives. I'm sure you've all kind of looked over those. Presenting this item, of course, will be Rebecca Zook, our engineering director, and Luke Albert, not only our traffic engineer, but the man that talks to the people that sends us complaints all the time. So he has another title to him. So anyway, you have the floor.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. We're very happy this evening to be to talk about a couple signals that we have in the FY17 and 18 program, and then also talk about an additional item, and then seek some comments and questions and feedback from you regarding this information. So first off, I would like to talk about the CIP traffic signals that we have currently in the system. Cotton and Lower Buckeye was part of the FY17 program, and that signal was activated in late September of this year. Very excited to say that coincided perfectly with the opening of Phase 2 of Loop 303. It was very important for us to make sure that we got that taken care of and the repairs to that intersection, because it was our goal to make sure that we worked very closely with economic development to steer all of the truck traffic in that to that roadway to head straight north and hop on either I-10 or continue on with 303. So we're pleased with that project being completed. 135th Avenue and Thomas Road is our second traffic signal in FY17. We did not complete construction on that, but we are close to finishing up the design, and we want to talk a little bit more in detail about that this evening. And then there is an additional signal programmed in FY18 that we would also like to discuss this evening. The Lower Buckeye and Lower Buckeye Road and Cotton Lane signal. This is just a depiction of it, and you can see some additional improvements to the roadways that we made in that vicinity. And then the traffic signal location that we are proposing on 135th Avenue and Thomas Road is adjacent to the Palm Valley Elementary School on the south side. Our northern border is our sister city of Avondale. And what I would like to discuss specifically about this stretch of the roadway between Litchfield and Dysart is that on Litchfield Road we have our normal modular signal, and then as you go over to the Dysart you have the trombone style, which is the Avondales, which is similar to ours in size and shape, but a little more rounded. We've also been in conversations with Avondale, and they intend to install a signal at 137th and Thomas, and that's because it needs to be facilitated because of the traffic along the north side, the development coming from the north. So we have our signal that's at 135th and Thomas, and so our conversations with them is the style of the signal, because again, that intersection of 137th and 135th are in the city's jurisdiction, but the traffic is coming at least on the 137th from Avondale. So they have discussed with us that they're looking to install the ADOT style pole. And as such, we are also recommending to install the Avondale signal, the ADOT style signal at that location, simply because of the continuity and the look, and that we aren't going to be switching back and forth between signal types. I'm sorry, I forgot to use the clicker. So here's an example of our signal, again, just for you to take a quick look at, of that enhanced ADOT style pole. So again, it has the look of the ADOT, but we have it painted our color and our street sign accents on that. And so this, I would like to, usually I would go through the presentation, but I'm happy to stop here and answer any questions that you might have. Please understand that as I go to the end in the recommendations, I'll be making the recommendation, but I'm happy to stop at this point and answer any questions you have about this particular recommendation.
Thank you. I appreciate when you do that. It's easier for you to do it than me. So, yes, Joe?
Can those lights be synchronized? The one that Avondale is going to put there by the church and the other one?
136, 137?
Yes.
Thank you, Councilmember. I'm going to let Luke jump in on that, but when we get to the costs at the end, and if you noticed in the car, we specifically added a notation about adding in fiber to connect the two signals.
Mayor Laura, Councilmember Pizzillo, the jurisdiction of Thomas Road between Litchfield Road and just east of 135th is under Goodyear's jurisdiction. So they would be operated by Goodyear. And then, so the three in a row from Litchfield to 135th would all be Goodyear's operation and synchronized together. And then the traffic zone Dysart Road would be Avondale's jurisdiction. That would require some coordination with Avondale because they're also coordinating with other signals in the area, but definitely would be easy to coordinate 135th to Litchfield, require a little extra effort to coordinate over to Dysart Road with Avondale just because it's a different jurisdiction.
So if I understand you, where the church one's going in and the one where the school one's going in, it's easy to synchronize those two?
Correct.
Okay. All right. All right, that's fine.
Bill?
Just make sure. For some reason, I'm having a very hard time figuring that out. The light at 137th, which is going to serve the St. Thomas Aquinas Street, the high school, and that part of Avondale, is our responsibility? Is that?
At this point, we haven't gotten into the details of who's going to pay for what, but what I will tell you is it is our jurisdiction. We lie on the south. Avondale is on the north, so at least 50% would be paid by them.
Okay.
But again, we haven't gotten into the conversations about if it would be more than 50%.
But much like the light at Wigwam and Litchfield, it's our light. Litchfield Park has some responsibility, but
Right.
Okay, so that intersection will be that'll be us, and then clearly the 135th and Thomas will be us as well.
Correct.
Because of the light going in at 137th, does that change the need for the light at 135th?
It would not change the need for the light there. There's no access to 135th from the north or 137th from the south, so they would still be much necessary to serve those two sides of the street and the adjacent developments.
And do you know? I was going to try to look. Do you know if you go up to Indian School, directly north of here, there's two lights that appear to be about a quarter mile or so apart from one another? Is this about a parallel kind of situation, or similar, I should say, to Indian School? That's all county, and
Yeah,
do you know?
the interstates you're talking about, I believe now, they were county. I believe they're under Avondale's jurisdiction at this time, and we could take a closer look at that. I don't have the answer.
I'm just trying
today.
to visualize. Are these about this roughly the same? I mean, that could be within a couple hundred feet off, but they're roughly the same.
Yeah, yes, they are.
Okay. All right, I'm good with that so far. Thanks.
Joanne?
Well, that's going to be interesting, those two lights that close together. And but obviously, there's going to be traffic, and I can understand the desire. And I would have loved years ago that one to be by Palm Valley Elementary School. That is definitely an underserved area of need for traffic signals. And I appreciate, I would love for the two signals to mirror each other and look. I think that would be great. And from what I'm understanding, is that the lower cost ones, correct?
That is correct. The ADOT is a lower cost.
Okay, I thought so. I guess back to the synchronization, the only thing that I remember, Bill, you brought this up quite a few months ago, the intersection that when we go on McDowell Road from Dysart to that light that's right at Lowe's, and that's such a pain, because the minute you've just come through that light off Dysart, you stop, within a block there at the light. I don't even know what roadway that is. Discount Tires light, yeah. That really is, and it's truly, it's Avondale light to our light, and there's no synchronization. So
Who gets a letter on it? A complaint?
I
It's
don't
good
know.
you're
It
getting
it drives me
Avondale.
nuts, but I know that it's just one of those things you deal with. But having those two that close, it would really be nice if the one that was at Thomas to 135th to 137th at least all ran together.
Wally?
I would like to ask, are you planning to have crosswalks at both of those lights?
Correct. Mayor Lower, Vice Mayor Campbell, there would be crosswalks at both those lights. Yeah, you'd certainly be able to, it's like a three-legged intersection there. You'd certainly be able to cross each leg of the intersection.
All right, and now you're telling me that the cost could be shared maybe between us and Avondale? Is there any way to recoup any of the cost for the light at 135th from the community college, since it's really going to benefit their parking lot? Could they share
Thank you
in
for
thirds, maybe?
Thank you for the question, Vice Mayor. However, the requirement for sharing in the proportionate cost of a signal is typically assessed during the zoning process. When they're coming through to us and we have an opportunity to review their TIA, and at that point, we're able to say, because of your impacts to the intersection or your proximity to the intersection, you're required to pay 25%, 50%. So unfortunately, going back after the fact, it's not possible.
Have we looked and made sure we didn't tell them? I can't imagine we would give them permission or agree to their zoning if they're going to put in a university with parking and then not say you have to pay part of a traffic light in the future should your student body get to a certain degree or a certain amount, I would think.
Well, and just to make clear, this is in Avondale.
Avondale,
But yeah, the north side is Avondale. We can certainly reach out to Avondale, but I would not imagine that was contemplated at the time.
Any other questions? Joe, did you have another one?
I'm good.
Bill?
We're going to talk about the recommendation that
You can, it's totally up to you if you want to talk about it now or later.
Recommendation for the light, tell me what,
yeah,
I want to where you're on the recommendation.
I'm just going to probably repeat what I said when we talked about this a year ago regarding the look and style of the lights that we have in the city of Goodyear that identifies you are in the city of Goodyear. And I think, I get if Avondale was paying for the light at 137th and they were going to install one type, I get why we would want to do it. But if we're going to be putting them both in, then I think we need to stick with what we said a year ago, and that's stick with the style that we said is going to be east of the 303, which is the block style. I don't know what the official term of it is.
I think if I can just respond to that, we were talking about we could be flexible in certain areas, certain neighborhoods, certain school areas. So my feeling is, but rather less, we should take the time tonight and go through this and decide what lights we want where. Because it will, and Joanne and I, we loved the big, we were with you, we just love that. But there is a balance in certain neighborhoods, and so I would hate us not to have the opportunity to think about that one more time and take the time tonight. So that's my opinion. I'll throw it out the rest of you.
Can I finish, though?
Yeah.
My thought on that is that we have that, what is that called?
It's a modular.
The modular. We have the modular, yeah, better with blocks.
Say it 3 times fast.
We have the modular light traffic signals at Thomas and Litchfield. And then we're going to change to the ADOT style halfway through Thomas on 2 lights. And then we're going to get to Dysart, which is the intersection we don't control. And we're going to go to the trombone style. So in that tiny little section of Thomas Road, we're going to have 3 different styles of traffic lights. So we talk about consistency and quality of the community. That is, I think that's an issue. I agree that we talked about in different neighborhoods, different community, but
Yeah.
this is right in the heart of everything that we've already got. Everywhere around it does not have this ADOT style light in our city, and that was the concern that I just wanted to reiterate. I can't say that I agree with doing it in a different part of the city, but if that's the will of the council, I'm okay with that.
Well, let's go through it then. Joe?
Yeah, I'm going to offer a differing opinion. I guess the one is $500,000, and the other one's about 330, 40, 50 million, 50,000.
Thank you, Councilmember Pizzillo. They're about 550,000 versus about 350,000.
Yeah, and from my perspective, from a standpoint versus the aesthetics, I don't think it's a good use of our taxpayers' fund to spend that extra, $250,000. That's my personal opinion.
Shannon?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Joe as well. I mean, our interior lights are not the main intersections. I'm okay with the ADOT style, especially with the price difference. But I was thinking if we do go to the ADOT style in the future, and if we're going to save that $200,000-ish, then just an idea I would like to maybe get with the Arts Commission and maybe do something that makes that ADOT, dresses up that ADOT signal to look something more enhanced for Goodyear. So it could be, I don't know, I'd have to talk to you guys about what that would look like that also doesn't hurt the traffic light functions, but $20,000, $50,000 to make it look spruce it up or make it look nicer for a character or the area that it's in, or to make so you know you're in Goodyear. So there's some kind of quality in there as well.
Finish?
Yep.
Joanne?
We did have a very good, robust discussion over
Yeah.
this. And I'm in agreement with Joe on this one. And it's, to me, and to Bill's point, and the argument that I would stick by are our main atrial. I'm not even saying it right. Arterials. Arterials. There we go. The main roads. Those are the ones that we want to make sure that you do see the difference of that this is a Goodyear light. I think the concern to me was as growth was going through the neighborhood lights, as long as it's that consistent brown color that we have, I'm happy with. But that modular look, that's the ones that we want to make sure that any new major roadway has that, because that is Goodyear, and I do appreciate that look to it. But when we have to put 2 of them, especially because of neighborhood and school traffic, and we have to do them very close together in a timely, I'd rather save the money and
But
put the
actually
2.
a lighter look, not a heavier look.
And that,
back to
yeah,
back.
that's, I mean, yeah, and that's the other thing, the good point of at a major intersection is that heavier looking, stance of the other type.
Any other rebuttal? Anybody? No? Okay, go on. Do we know what the answer to that is? Sure.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now I'd like to move on to the Camelback Road pedestrian crossing. This was a project that came up near the beginning of last year's budget cycle, and it was brought to our attention during a homeowners meeting on or about that same time. And it was in reference to the new development along the north side, Palm Valley 9. And the concerns at the meeting were students crossing Camelback, as well as speeding, perceived speeding on Camelback. The speeding was addressed by our team with PD and enforcement, and then from the engineering side, we were recommending that we construct a pedestrian underpass at this location for the students to walk from the north side of Camelback and then connect with the pedestrian walkway through the Bullard Wash that we have constructed. Since that time, we have conducted an additional traffic study as it relates to the Palm Valley Phase 9, and we have seen a significant increase. I'm very happy to say for Mattamy Homes, that's a significant increase in their issuance of permits and traffic impacts from that neighborhood. So essentially, we're seeing throughout, our numbers are showing a 27% increase in traffic entering on from Camelback from that area. And then during our peak time from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., a 52% increase, and that's just occurred over the last 6 months. And so now I'll jump into the recommendations. And as we've already talked about, which we can further talk about if it's desired, was to utilize the enhanced ADOT style traffic signal at Thomas Road east of Litchfield at both 135th on the city side and then 137th on our partnering with Avondale. In addition, for the Camelback Road pedestrian underpass, we are recommending that we no longer construct the pedestrian underpass and instead that we install a signal at 146th Avenue and Camelback Road. That is recommended that it will also be the enhanced ADOT style, as that was approved when we came before you back in August of 2016. There was an area along Camelback where we only have one existing signal at Loop 303, which is the ADOT style, and so we recommended for that portion of Camelback, which is in our jurisdiction, to also have the ADOT style. And with that, we are happy to answer questions related to the first item and then also the second item we discussed, the pedestrian
Questions,
underpass.
do you mind? I know I'm not supposed to go first, but I'm burning it. Is there sidewalks on the other side when they cross under that line?
There are sidewalks, and you're talking about the Camelback?
Yeah.
There are sidewalks along the north side that extend from that neighborhood. I think I have a picture here. Let's see. Let me make sure I'm not upside down. Ooh. So here's 146th. There's sidewalks all along here.
Okay.
But essentially, we're going to be directing students to cross here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a sidewalk that goes all the way along, and then there's a little path that leads into the Bullard Wash.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Joe?
I'm good with the recommendation. I'm glad we're not going with the tunnel. To me, that just breeds possibly somebody getting hurt. You know, people hiding in those tunnels while the kids at night are going in and out of there, or other things going on in the tunnels that we don't want happening. So I think the light's probably the proper way to go, as opposed to doing an underpass. I think it's a safety issue.
Any other comments? Bill?
Rebecca, you said can you slide that just a little bit? Okay, so 146th is on my right.
So this
the
is
traffic light.
146 right here.
And did you say there's a sidewalk on the south side of Camelback?
There is a sidewalk on the south side of Camelback.
There is, okay. And that takes it all the way down to the Bullard Wash?
Takes it all the way down to Bullard Wash, and I'm going to move it over here a little bit because you can see the sidewalk comes along here, and then there's a little trail that comes down here.
Yeah, I was trying to look on Google Maps, so thank you.
Any other questions?
It's a better idea.
Wally?
Is 146 where we had a fatal accident?
Yes, that is the location.
Okay, thanks.
And I agree, Joe. I'm glad that they're not going to go under the tunnel. It was a desperate suggestion by the community. And also, just to be aware, they have been crossing under that. A number of teenagers and people and young people who want to go to the other side do. So will that stop it? I don't know. So there's always going to be that, I think, concern for some time. Go ahead. Brandon?
You want to put a new ADOT style signals recommendation, right? Versus the tunnel is what we're.
Correct. That is correct.
ADOT likes us.
Yeah, I mean, to their point, I think people are still going to use that tunnel because the shortest distance between 2 points for the students getting there who live on that side of on the area. But yeah, but if it also alleviates the traffic in the future, then that'd be good as well.
The neighborhood's going to be happy, I can tell you.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Can we go forward? All right, go ahead.
And so then, just to wrap everything up, I wanted to do a quick look at the monetary savings that the city could realize. And I'm sorry, Lainey, can you give me back to the, thank you. So we had, from FY17 carried over the 135th Avenue and Thomas Signal, estimated to be 500, and I'm going to tell you I can't read this, let me look, $532,000. We have an updated estimate using the ADOT style poll of 355 with a net savings of 177,000. And then for the FY18 146th Avenue and Camelback Signal, at an estimated cost of $551,400 with an updated estimate of $385,000. And again, just to be clear, some of the changes, you see the difference in the cost. It's associated with whether or not there are ADA ramps, whether or not there's appropriate right-of-way. So there's a variety of things to take into account. So on that one, we'd have a net savings of $166,000. And then the pedestrian underpass was estimated to be $244,200. So without doing that, that would be entirely savings. So the net savings would be $587,000 to the city for these recommendations. But I do want to add in that, as we were discussing earlier, the synchronizing of the lights on Thomas, it would cost approximately $90,000 to add that fiber project into this, which would be then would reduce us to about a $500,000 savings.
All right. Let's hear from the council. How do you feel about that one?
I like
Just give me a nod here. We aren't voting. Okay, I got it over here. I think they would like to do that.
Okay, well, that's all I have for you this evening.
Well, great. Thank you very much. Any other questions before they leave? And I think that was all we have on this schedule. Is that correct? So will the city manager provide a brief summary of current events and can be discussed?
Mayor and council, so give me just 1 second. I'll grab my notes. So just a couple of items on the, we will be getting information out to council on the GAIN events that were held this past Saturday. That'll be in the council report that goes, or the manager's report that goes out on this Thursday. But we did hit 9 neighborhoods that range from 20 people over to 150 individuals at the GAIN events. So very successful. And again, we'll provide more detail end of this week. We'll also provide the Pebble Creek home tour, and unless the vice mayor wants to say something now, that happened in Pebble Creek, but there were 7 homes toured, and I'll stop there if the vice mayor wants to say something. We will have, and this is just to reinforce a couple of items, Palo Verde will be doing their annual siren system testing on Wednesday, so if you hear from the community around noon to 12:30, they've mailed letters out to a 10-mile radius, but they will activate the sirens twice, first at noon and then again at 12:30. So that we are informing the public via social media. And then finally, in observance of Veterans Day, we will be closed this Friday. So we will have public safety and emergency crews obviously available, but City Hall will be closed. And lastly, our Veterans Ceremonies this Saturday at the Goodyear Ballpark, and that is from 2 to 4. It is just a great event again. We'll have flag plantings on Thursday, Friday. We will have several agencies who will be involved with this, and it really is a tribute to the veterans and those families to support those. So it's been a great event that we've had over the last couple of years. And Mayor, Council, that's all I have tonight.
Great. I'm going to ask the council person to please talk about Westmark that attended. I think it was you, Joanne, so why don't you go take it?
Sherry, Brandon, and I, we were there. It was out,
Microphone's
sorry.
over here. Thank you.
Thursday night, as most of you know, we were honored with 2 great awards, and one of them, the Innovation Award for the water collaboration with SRP and our city, and receiving, looking for that infrastructure as we try to get our water from the Colorado River. And also, the surprise of the night was the award for Economic Engine, and that was PV 303, and an outstanding award for, what's happening in our city and bringing jobs and what's going along with development on the 303. And then actually also John Graham, who's the principal of that Sunbelt Holdings, also received an award. So it was really wonderful for our city, and it was exciting to be able to be there.
Well, I want a round of applause for staff on that water.
Absolutely.
Okay, Vice Mayor, why don't you talk about Pebble Creek?
Well, the Pebble Creek Home Tour was very successful. We're still counting the money, but it will be in excess of $10,000.
Nice.
So
Wow,
we're
I'm-
very appreciative to
Another
accept
clap for
that. We'll give you a total next month, and we'll be presenting a mock check. He'll already have the cash to the chief at the December 9th Shop with a Cop Day here.
Very good.
Brandon, how about you talking about GAIN?
Yeah, so GAIN was a good event. I went to 5 different events. I know this council was at many along the way. So yeah, it was good. A lot of residents out there excited about their communities, and they're very happy that the police and fire and the garbage and sanitation crews came through. And yeah, a lot of good, happy people getting to meet their neighbors, and yeah, just a lot of pride for their neighborhoods and a lot of good questions about their neighborhoods. And yeah, it was good to meet a lot of people and let them know that we're here to help. So it was good, really good event. So
Good.
Yeah.
Joe?
I'm not sure if it's the next one or not, but I'm asked all the time about that light at 35th and the one where the school's at. If I can just get a timeline of when you think that may be up, for people are asking me, then I can kind of pass on. Here's what our target is where that may be operational.
The 135th then, Thomas, we hope to have that activated by June 30th. There's some pieces that we want to wait until school's out to actually stand up the arms and things like that. So we're shooting for probably between that June 1st and June 30th to get the majority of the work done.
Thank you.
Any other ones? I'm going to mention a couple. I went to the Palm Valley Elementary School's National Blue Ribbon Celebration.
Yes, yay. Yeah.
Yes, and it was pretty outstanding. It was really fun to be there. They honored quite a few people there and the teachers and so forth. So that was great. And the other thing, I went run the raceway, so I went to PIR, and they had their first fundraiser for an organization called Play School. I think it's called Play School.
Playworks.
What?
Playworks.
Playworks. Had it wrong. Playworks. And I had gone to Avondale School District and witnessed that in the recess time. And it was the most extraordinary recess time. It's divided into circles with young people, and they have leaders. So you walk in, the leader comes up to you and tells you in no uncertain terms what they're going to do and how it's going to go. So anyway, when they're in these circles, it could be a ball game, throw the ball to someone. So they teach they teach you not to bully, not to laugh at someone. If you're not really good at an athletic event, they just tell you pick up the ball and throw it again. So it's getting along on the playground. And when they're finished with one circle, they go to the next circle. Nobody can talk nasty to somebody. They please and thank yous, and they were laughing, clapping. There was a young man that had a problem walking. Didn't make any difference. They spent a little extra time with him. They threw the ball. And so you talk about teamwork and talk about bullying. There isn't bullying. And so I've decided there's someone in Washington I would like to invite out to this and have
There's
them
no
play
Twitter.
with the people in the school and learn about non-bullying. So we'll get on with that. Yes,
one more if I
yes,
may.
you
Me
may.
too.
On Thursday evening, because the mayor and I were occupied in Pebble Creek, we went to another veterans event, and I had the pleasure of bringing Joe Bonaberry, our 97-year-old World War II Goodyear resident, who is a World War II veteran. But the really wonderful thing was Colonel Lord, our mayor's husband, was one of the guest speakers and told about him being the Air Force symbol on the wall of the Pentagon, and it was just very interesting. But it was wonderful because we were able to visit with so many of the vets that live here in Goodyear, and it was a great night. So I wanted to share that.
Anything else? Yes, Joe.
Thing I forgot, and again, what I love about the perks of the job, back to that blue ribbon, I got to hand out cupcakes for the last three,
Did.
the last three lunch programs there at the school, and the kids were all pumped. So as I was leaving the school, I told the lady, I says, I did my job. I sugared them all up for you for the rest of the day. And she said, thank you very much. So
That's great, Joe. Brandon?
I took a quick tour of the Liberty Water Utility. That was a pretty neat operation.
Great.
And, definitely affects the residents that are right behind them and what they're doing to mitigate the smells and things like that. So it was a good, quick tour.
Reason I'm doing this is so much happens in the week, then we have a work session, and nobody hears about it, and it doesn't get in the minutes. And so I think it's really important that we talk about. You have one more?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I didn't think about it because I was telling, I said, oh, tell about that, and I didn't think about anything else. So today we actually started rolling out the awards for our citywide reading challenge, and actually Odyssey Preparatory had two of the winners today. We recognized Miss Spalina's kindergarten class. She has won like 4 years in a row, I want to say.
Wow.
And so that was our kindergarten class, and also Miss Springs' second grade class at Odyssey Preparatory also was the winner for the citywide reading challenge. And actually, Wally and I attended a rather interesting.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
We did. And I've got the stuff in the trunk of the car for the rest of council.
Oh,
I've got
okay.
the sacks.
It was the Southwest Gas kind of emergency collaboration, really discussing about what happens when there's a gas leak and what occurs. And so that was kind of different. It was interesting. And I actually brought a couple of things that I wanted to share. You know, they always say that stealing can be the nicest form of flattery, right? So I was at the City of Surprise last week, meeting with Mayor Wolcott, and something that I found that surprised us that I would really be interested to see if this is something we could do. But they have what they call Rock Your Block, a free block party trailer rentals available. And in this trailer, they have, the trailer includes chairs, tables, coolers, canopy tents, sports equipment, name tags, garbage bags, a PA stereo system, lighting, and a generator. And then they will also refund money up to $75 for local grocery food store, and also $125 towards renting a bounce house. So, I mean, you know, as we're trying to get block watch parties going on, as we're having HOA, maybe annual events, helping out with, this was really interesting. I have no idea what this might, cost to set up, but I thought that was a kind of cool way to get neighborhoods, to do things together. And the other one is they have an annual gingerbread house contest, and I thought that was the cutest thing.
Really cute.
So I stole those two things and went to
Good.
give it to the manager.
That doesn't hurt. Okay, everybody's finished? It's all right. Well, then, I think you don't have anything else, do you?
Can
All right,
we-
so the next meeting will be a CFD on November 13th, 5:30, followed by a regular meeting and a special meeting immediately thereafter. So with this, we'll be adjourning this, but we have another meeting, you all know.
Maybe
Yes.
ask the city manager
Oh,
something?
sure, go ahead, Wally.
I'd like to ask the city manager, if at all possible, next year, whenever we do our GAIN event, that perhaps before it is scheduled, someone check with all of the council schedules. When there's 3, 4, 5, 6 events on the day, we can't participate in all of them. And GAIN can be held anytime. The national GAIN is in August. We just don't do it in August because it's too hot. So if it could be done, a little bit more coordination, it would be greatly appreciated. It's because it's something that all the council likes to do, and the residents like having council come as well as city staff, so just a thought. And then on a sad note, if I may,
Yes.
I want to tell you and to extend the sympathy of the city to Leslie Miller, whose husband Morgan passed away this past week. And Morgan was a Marine veteran. He was a 23-year firefighter in Philadelphia, and when Leslie and Morgan retired, they moved to Goodyear, and Morgan was an active volunteer fire inspector for us. And I just wanted to let all of you know, we'll miss him, and he made many, many friends. And Leslie, of course, served on our planning and zoning committee until Morgan became ill and had to resign. So I just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you, Wally. I hadn't heard that at all.
I just heard today.
Okay. All right, I'm going to adjourn this meeting, and then we're going to go in an exec meeting. This meeting is